As an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was impressed by the American people like that.
Joy Behar recently lost it over Arnold. On the most recent episode of Views, Arnold launched a roast of her. Joy appeared utterly stunned by a comment that evolved into what many you could see her emotions change on camera as people called her having an unpleasant moment. But stay put, because we're going to break down the precise statements and responses that set off all of this drama and demonstrate why it was far more than your average discussion.
You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
Imagine the traditional round table with a customary commotion, and then Arnold enters. He wasn't merely coming to talk about his most recent film. He is well known for having strong views, particularly on immigration, because of his own experience traveling to the U.S. As soon as he walked on stage, the atmosphere changed, undoubtedly prepared for an honest discussion. Given that Arnold doesn't mince words when discussing difficult topics, this wasn't going to be a light-hearted section as the topic shifted to his own narrative. Behar, Joy, always the one to cut right to the chase. I questioned him about his thoughts on immigration enforcement, particularly with organizations like ICE, and how his own experience as an immigrant influenced them. Many observers anticipated that Arnold would offer insights that connected with the challenges and aspirations of newcomers in answer to a straightforward question meant to elicit a meaningful response from someone who has been there. But then came the pivotal moment when Arnold stated that immigrants must act like guests.
I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest.
Consider the statement, behave like a guest, which implies that immigrants are only guests in someone else's house rather than individuals seeking to start over and make a contribution. If you were watching, you would have noticed the audience's mildly disapproving expressions. His customary candor and lack of apology left no opportunity for misunderstanding. Arnold's words had landed differently than he would have anticipated, as seen by the abrupt reduction in enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Joy Behar's response to Arnold's behaving like a guest comment was very obvious. It wasn't an explosive reaction, but rather a rapid inward shift that everyone she seems to have been caught off guard, both as a host and as someone who understands the immigrant perspective, as evidenced by her small leaning back and withdrawal from the earlier atmosphere. Normally, she would have responded quickly, appeared to be frozen open for a moment before she could collect her thoughts. The simplicity of his response conveyed genuine shock and perhaps even a sense of personal challenge, which was a powerful nonverbal expression.
The moment there's a lot of logic there, you realize there's hands being put on him like, relax, you can't.
Joy's uneasiness had extended to Sunani. The other co-host at Hostin's face changed from being neutral to clearly showing concern for you. Could just feel her mind running as she prepared to push back Sarah Haynes. Appeared uneasy as well. This change in the host's collective demeanor was evident that Arnold's remarks weren't insignificant. This is where the embarrassment began. Aspect comes in for Joy. It wasn't a sob in which she broke down, but rather a moment in which the statement directness disarmed her.
Seeing Arnold's face is just, he's just shocked. He's like, what are these women saying? I can't co-sign any of this. And what's crazy is all Arnold really did is he was just saying that he has American pride. He's proud to be an American. It stands for something. But sadly, none of the hosts on The View are proud to be an American. So when they hear him kind of give this, a positive viewpoint on what it takes to become a citizen and why it's important to do it the right way, to them it's just like needles just scratching because they don't want to hear that, because they're not proud to be an American, like clearly. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who realizes that he loves his country, and so it's just different. He loves his country.
Behar didn't immediately lose her cool when Arnold said, "Behave like a guest," but you could see that she was processing what he had said. Her co-host, particularly Sunani Hostan, quickly jumped in, demonstrating that this wasn't just a casual disagreement, but rather that it felt like a real misrepresentation of immigrant experiences. Sunny is always willing to stand up for social justice, and her prompt response to Arnold's comment demonstrated that he had crossed a queue for many people. This wasn't about shutting someone down. Rather, it was about correcting a narrative that felt really off to them. At first, Joy seemed a little stunned, but she soon found her rhythm again. From that point on, the conversation was like a K-full dance. There weren't any loud arguments between Joy and Arnold, but you could definitely feel the tension. Joy, with her years of experience, didn't just lash out. Instead, she asked questions that probed deeper into his comments, trying to challenge his guest analogy without resorting to a shouting match. Her body language was a little stiff, and she maintained eye contact with him, demonstrating that she wasn't letting this go easily. The other hosts also felt the tension and did their part to manage the situation. In an attempt to keep things from getting too heated, Whoopi Goldberg, the moderator, tried to change the topic or ask Arnold a question. Her intention was not to ignore the issue, but to keep it from degenerating into a shouting match, which The View typically tries to avoid. She had shifted the conversation to the practical side of immigration policy rather than Arnold's philosophical point in an effort to keep things more relaxed. I understand what you're saying about respect, Arnold, but a lot of immigrants really build their lives here and contribute a ton, said Sarah Haynes, who frequently searches a common ground, in response. These were crucial statements to prevent the segment from devolving into a back and forth between Joy and Arnold, allowing for the consideration of various points of view. It's a common strategy on The View to ensure that all voices get a chance even when things get heated.
Important that we work together.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who is asking whom. The bottom line is we work together in order to solve the problem.
Yeah, can't just go in and do
Let's discuss how this entire exchange affected Joy Behar and her perspective. You could see that she was shocked by Arnold's comment, as evidenced by her behavior changing and her genuine surprise. It wasn't a breakdown in the traditional sense, but rather a moment when her usual composure and quick wit were a little shaken. She likely felt frustrated, if not embarrassed, because a complex issue was reduced to such a simplistic analogy on her own show. This type of interaction is what they do best. It generates buzz, gets viewers talking, and keeps the conversation going long after the episode ends. The tension in the host pushing back shows viewers that the show isn't afraid to tackle tough topics, even if it means challenging their guests. It also boosts the show's reputation for real debate and becomes part of the show's story. For Joy, having a public disagreement with a well-known guest, especially on something so fundamental to her values, can be quite startling. A noteworthy incident where a celebrity guest agitated the panel and elicited a strong response. But what do you guys think? Was Joy Behar genuinely embarrassed, or did she demonstrate her strength in defending herself? What about Arnold's remarks? Did it go too far, or was he just being honest? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next updates on daytime TV drama.